All week we've been talking about engaging your existing audience one-on-one at a deeper level, taking all of those great connections you're making online and taking it a layer deeper so you can really start to do some relationship building. So I put up a question sticker, as always, asking for your questions. And this week, our question of the week comes from someone who requested that their question remain anonymous, which is totally cool. I still very much appreciate them sharing this question. And I think it's one that lots of different businesses could benefit from. And I'm hoping that all of you can take something from this that's helpful. So the question is, how can I manage overwhelm that I feel with the engagement I'm getting here on Instagram? And this person went on to say that the overwhelm they're feeling in just managing the engagement with their own audience is veering into resentment in some cases. And obviously that's not what we want. Marketing should feel good. Everything to do with representing your business should feel good. And so because I believe in that so strongly, this question tugged at me, and I wanted to be sure that I shared some thoughts about it. So the first thing I recommend if you're experiencing overwhelm is to ask yourself, why do I feel overwhelmed? What about managing the engagement that I'm getting on Instagram specifically is making me feel overwhelmed? And three possibilities that might come up for you are the actual interface of Instagram. Like, Instagram is getting in the way of me engaging on Instagram. Is it the volume of engagement you're receiving? It's just exceeding your capacity. Is it the content of the comments and the questions you're receiving? So really try to drill down to the specifics of what's behind the overwhelm that you're feeling, because what that can do is point to a possible solution. I jotted down a few bullet points here, so that's why I'm glancing down. So from there, you can start to brainstorm possible ways to ease the burden on yourself. So if it's the interface, you might benefit from managing your Instagram comments and DMs on the desktop. This is something that I have gradually started doing, and it just really helps. I find it less distracting, and it's easier on my neck to be able to sit up at my desk and manage all of that rather than being hunched over my phone for hours every day. So that's one option. I also recently learned about a tool called Insist that opens up even more functionality of Instagram. It essentially replicates Instagram, but on a desktop. So whereas the desktop version of Instagram, like Instagram.com, allows you to do certain things, Insist actually makes it possible to post from desktop. You can do all kinds of different things using Insist, and it's a free tool. So I will link all the information, as always, below. So that's the interface. If you're finding that it's the volume of comments and questions you're receiving that is contributing to the overwhelm you're feeling, you might find it helpful to create some specific boundaries for yourself about how you're engaging with the comments and questions you're receiving. So maybe you come up with some guidelines for yourself about which types of comments and questions you'll choose to prioritize in responding. You might also decide how you're going to respond to them. Can you benefit from maybe pre-populating your templates on the app with a few kind of starter responses that then you can customize to help save yourself some time? Do you want to maybe set a guideline for how many of them you're going to respond to in depth each week? And when I say respond to in depth, I mean a level of thoughtfulness in your response that matches the level of thoughtfulness of the comment or question you're receiving. So if someone is typing out a thoughtful paragraph or mini paragraph of a comment or question, you're doing more than just fire emoji, thanks babe. I know none of you are doing that, but that's what we're talking about in terms of thoughtful responses. So you might just decide these are going to be my boundaries for now, and nothing's set in stone. You might try that out for a little while and then kind of readjust based on what you find out and how it feels to you. That's what I would recommend. Let's see. This is also, if the volume of it is exceeding your capacity, you might find it helpful to outsource to a VA or a social media manager. This could be particularly helpful if you find that it's eating up so much of your time, and you really don't enjoy it, that it's pulling you away from the parts of your business you really love. This is something, I think it's probably a constant challenge for all of us to be reevaluating, am I staying in the sweet spot in my business? This is something I'm actively working on now more than ever. So that might be a solution for you, is looking into options to outsource. Finally, if the content of the comments and questions you're getting is producing overwhelm for you, first, a disclaimer. You are never obligated to tolerate or engage with hateful or harmful speech of any kind. I have a blog post all about managing your comments specifically that I will link below. And in it, I include like an unequivocal statement that you're not, just because you're in the public eye, representing your business online, that doesn't mean that your own boundaries go out the window. And in fact, I believe as healers and helpers, we have kind of an ethical mandate to maintain safe space for the people that are engaging with our content online. So I offer some specific tips regarding that in that post. So I'll link that below. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you about this? So another way that the content of comments and questions you receive could be producing overwhelm is that they're veering into a higher level of support than you can or want to provide in a DM or in a series of comments on a post here on Instagram. If that's the case, I highly recommend having just some set templated responses that you can share with people, and then you can personalize them if you want to. But that make that pretty clear, draw that dividing line for folks. Like, for example, let's say that you're thinking, gosh, this is more than I can provide just on this little app. But I am willing to provide a more comprehensive response over on my email list. And maybe that would feel better to me because it's more of an exchange, like someone is giving me access to their inbox. And so I'm more receptive to more in-depth questions. Okay, so that's one option, in which case you can say, this is an excellent question. My email list is where I'm able to provide the most comprehensive responses to questions I receive. Would you be interested in me sharing a link? Would you like me to share a link so that you can consider joining my email list? And then if they say yes, you can send them a link to your opt-in page for your freebie or whatever. That's one really easy way where you're still acknowledging that they've asked you the question. It's not like you just want to ghost somebody, but you're helping educate them about where and how you provide free support. People don't intuitively know, and not all business owners are alike. And so there probably are some people who actually prefer to give very in-depth, almost coaching in their DMs. That's perfectly fine. But if that's not you, then all you need to do is help educate the people that are reaching out to you about where they can access that free support. Same with comments and questions that veer into your paid support. So I'm going to drop below just like a really simple little template for the example I just gave, and then for paid services. But essentially you're just telling them the same thing. Like, this is an excellent question, or this is the kind of thing I hear from a lot of people in fill in the blank niche that you serve. And I happen to have a signature program that's absolutely dreamed up with you and this type of question in mind. Would you like me to share a link so you can learn more about that? So that's the gist of it. But that is what a lot of the health and wellness professionals I work with end up choosing to do, is to just have a templated response ready to go, so that when those come through, you're not like waffling on the fly, taking up time typing out an explanation. And it also prevents you from draining yourself, just managing the influx of comments and questions you receive. But again, the whole point of this is, first of all, there's almost no must-dos when you're engaging with your audience. It's mostly about how you want to show up, and know that that can change. It doesn't have to be one set in stone way of being. You're allowed to experiment and readjust. And finally, you've got this. Like, we're all figuring it out in real time. So hopefully there's something tangible that I've shared here that you can take with you. I'd love to know what's resonating. Go ahead and drop it below if you're here live or if you're watching the replay. I'm going to take a look here at a couple of comments that have come through. Jackie says, I've never heard of Insist. Thanks for that too. Yes, I learned about that from Christy Plattinga of Therapy SEO. I'll link her below as well. But she was sharing about Insist. It was new to me and it's really cool. So I'll link info about that. Jackie says you love that idea. I think that's in reference to the templated responses. Is that right? Kind of funneling people onto your email list, for example, if that's where you choose to provide more comprehensive free support. Yeah, lots of ways to be, lots of ways to serve your audience really well. But I have totally enjoyed all the conversations I've gotten to have with you this week, speaking of engaging with your audience, because there are so many different situations that we're all navigating. Our audiences all have different needs, but what's cool is that there are some commonalities to what we all experience. And I think overwhelm at some point is just inevitable. And so that first question of, why am I feeling overwhelmed? Is it the interface of Instagram? Is it the volume of engagement I'm receiving? Is it the content? Is it some combo of the three? I'd love to hear from you and know if this was helpful. As I said, I'll link all resources below, including the blog post that dives into all of this much deeper. But have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for being here. Bye.